Understanding and seeing how your subconscious mind is affecting every area of your life is one of the biggest things you can start doing today to make a difference in your life for the better. What's going on, guys? I'm your host as usual. I'm about to get in here and drop some stuff on you. I hope you enjoy it. So it's always on my mind because I've been learning about it for some years now. Now, I've not been in heavy research within it just yet, but I have seen practical application time and time again. I've learned about the basics, basic diagrams, basic understandings that really help you conceptualize the subconscious mind and how it plays an effect on everything, how we are constantly governed by it in a way, how our self-image is created within it, and how we constantly live up to that standard day in and day out. Okay? Now, a lot of this realization for me has been seeing what my life is like because of it without my control. Like going through whatever part of my life, the first several years of my life, without having an understanding of it at all, and having that culminate into where I was. The negative effects of that, the negative thinking patterns, the inefficient ways of being, more than anything, that resulted from it. That was my situation. There are people out there who get lucky and they never learn about the subconscious mind, and they luckily come into certain habits and thinking patterns that help them, that are efficient, right? But that, I don't know if that's the majority or the minority. I would say it's likely the minority, especially in our society nowadays, where we're almost conditioned to have many different limiting beliefs, many different barriers to our greater, higher self. But that's a topic for a different conversation, right? In particular, what I want to talk about today is how learning the basics of your subconscious mind, of how that inner dialogue is controlled, can help you shift in your life in many ways more than you might realize. And how if you don't choose to make this conscious decision, it's going to continue either way to rule your life. And maybe you'll get lucky and come into some understandings that actually help you be efficient. But chances are you'll continue down the path that you're on. And if that's not so hot of a path, well, you might imagine where you might end up because of that. Okay? So the basics of the subconscious mind are basically that your mind's constantly absorbing. From a child, you're a sponge. You're just constantly absorbing. And when you're in the child stage, I believe it's like 1 to 7 years old, you're like maximum absorption, basically. And you're developing your frame of context in the world. And so you're picking up everything and reacting to it in the way that you're taught to react to it almost. So everything that is familiar then is very much ingrained inside of you, right? Even if it's like chaos and there's craziness going on, and your parents are constantly fighting, or they're drug addicts, or there's, robberies going on, whatever it is, your brain is constantly absorbing this and making it familiar in certain ways. Whatever is constant becomes familiar. So that plays into our life. That plays into how we grow older, right? As we get older, we grow out of that younger age. If we are attracted and our energy is used to being around chaos, well, we're going to attract chaos because that's normal. And calmness isn't normal for us. All right? Now, you can imagine how this might have a terrible effect on your life, and maybe it already is, and you don't even realize it. And it takes some ownership and accountability to think about an idea like this and really, really accept it. Because it's saying, wow, I went through all this in my childhood, and that obviously wasn't my fault. I was a child. And now I'm bringing it into my future. I'm bringing it into my life now. I'm doing it. I went through whatever I went through as a child, and, poor pity me, that was terrible. But I'm going to bring it with me. You have to be able to accept this. You have to be able to accept this and take ownership for your life. Because the thing is that nobody else is going to do it. Right? And that is ultimately, again, a part of that subconscious model of the mind. That lack of ownership. Right? You may be 50 years old and you're just now realizing that something from your childhood has disrupted however many parts of your life. And that's something that's pretty hard to accept unless you're really willing to, you're ready to make a change, which can be hard to do. But it's like, would you rather live your life consistently creating the same cycle over and over again that you don't even enjoy whatsoever? You're just used to it? Or would you rather embrace that ownership and make the changes that actually help you shift and be uncomfortable? Because it's not easy and it's going to feel weird and crazy and different and everything you can imagine that it would feel like after years and years of doing the same thing in a way. But that's better than the alternative, right? That's better than staying within it and never releasing yourself from the prison that is. Right? Now, this idea, what we're talking about here, is it's always happening. Right? It's not just childhood. It's also what you go through on a day-to-day. If you are around, what's the saying? People you're around, the top 5 people you're around the most is what you'll look like in a few years. Why is that? Well, again, it just plays into the idea of diet. Diet is not only food. Diet is the thoughts, the media you consume, the music you consume, the people you're around, everybody you talk to. Basically, every thought impulse that goes through your brain is picking up. You're picking up on it and internalizing it in some way, especially when you put emotion behind it. Right? These are two things you mix together, and the impact it has on your subconscious mind is it's pretty extraordinary. But it's like we don't realize that, and we just continue going. We just continue living without any sort of mindfulness in this area, without any sort of choice in what we are absorbing. And as you can imagine, that's a recipe for disaster. All right. I mean, would you go and grab something from the grocery store just completely randomly? I mean, maybe you would for fun, but imagine doing that every single night. Like, and you're not even grabbing like food that's good for like the meal tonight. Like you go and grab just a pack of, tortilla bread, tortillas. That's like all you get. It's like, that's my dinner, right? Nobody wants to do that. My point is like, if you don't realize what you're absorbing, you're going to continue to pick up and absorb shit that doesn't help. Like things that completely throw you off of anywhere where you want to go. Because you might have goals. You might set the time down and say, all right, I want this, I want to achieve this, I want to do that. And then you go back to your normal process and you don't consistently ingrain those goals. And you're not consistently seeing yourself as someone who already achieved those goals. And you're not doing the research on what someone who was achieving similar goals, what they were doing. You just write down the goals one time and walk away from them. Meanwhile, you're still watching just as much TV, you're still playing the video game, you're still doing drugs, still drinking alcohol. You're doing all these things that take your brain, that do not help you rethink about these goals whatsoever. And then you're mad because the goals don't manifest. It's like, yeah, you wrote them down and that's it. Like, come on, man. You got to do something more than that. You're committed to drinking. You're committed to watching TV. But you can't be committed to yourself and this passion that you have for life and like living more of your own choosing. Right? And I get it, man. We've all been there. We've all been stuck there. I'm not making fun of anybody. Like, for so long, I was stuck in the clutch of TV or video games and alcohol and drugs. And it took me away from where I wanted to be. It took me out of that alignment of my higher self. Every time. I mean, I couldn't even get on that higher alignment path, or at least like be conscious of it whatsoever. Because here I was filling my subconscious mind up with a load of shit. Right? Like with irrelevant information, things that were just taking from me, taking my energy with no gain. And I wondered why I wasn't getting anywhere, right? Most of me knew, though. And it wasn't until, again, I got away from all that and then started learning about the subconscious mind, how it works, how it was negatively affecting me because of my own application and use of it. And from there, I was able to grow. I was able to choose what my subconscious mind was going to be holding within it. And now it's a process too, you know. It's taken me years to get to where I'm at now mentally. Breaking down, unlearning what I learned in childhood, what I learned in teenage years, what I learned in different times of my life. I had to unlearn a lot of things. They were subconscious, right? They're patterns. They feel normal. It's like what you're likely to do, right? Because you're used to doing it. Even though it's maybe painful in this way or that way and you don't want to continue doing it, you do because it feels so normal and everything else feels so awkward. So, learning about the basics of the subconscious mind can be your gateway into living a life of your choosing. You just got to make it a thing, man. You got to want to learn about it and see. You got to be able to accept those realities, accept whatever it is that learning about your subconscious mind tells you. Acceptance of your faults, acceptance of your issues on the inside. Because once you accept them, then you can work on them. And once you work on them, you actually start healing them. And then you find something else to heal. And it's just this constant process of realizing your true self and unlearning what isn't helping you. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something from it. Let me know what you got below. Let me know if you have any questions. Guys, we're going to have an amazing day. It's Tuesday here. I hope the rest of your day is amazing. Go crush it. Be who you want to be who you are. And just go get it, man. This life is amazing. Let's go.